Good morning, Acton, and welcome to Java with John, hosted by Town Manager John Mangiaratti. Java with John streams every Friday morning at 10 a.m. on ActonTV's YouTube channel. You can also listen live on the radio at 94.9 FM. Tune in weekly for important information from the Town Manager, Health Department, and Council on Aging, as well as a variety of special guests. Residents can contact us with questions or comments at 978-929-6611 or email manager@actonma.gov.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the Job with John program. It's April 16th. Thank you for watching us on YouTube, or maybe you're listening on 94.9 WAEM local radio. Either way, it's great to see you again. And before I get started with my remarks, I want to quickly introduce the guests that you'll be hearing from today. Our public health update from Heather York is back. Heather's back. We all missed her last week. So thank you for being here, Director of Nursing. We're also going to hear from Sharon Mercurio, our executive producer, on matters of the senior center and some of the things maybe coming down the line. We have our natural resources assistant, one of them that works here in town, Bettina Abe, and she'll be joined by an all-star land steward, Bruce Rachman, and a special guest from the community, Ann Hand. And then we're going to close out the program with some comments from Bill Klauer, a local historian that you all know, former firefighter, cemetery commissioner, historic commission, several other local engagements. So why don't we jump right in? So here we are, mid-April. We're looking forward to welcoming the community back into our public buildings. Hopefully, the first week of May. We're on track right now. Hopefully, public health metrics stay stable, and we'll be able to open the doors again. Starting May 3rd to Town Hall, and then our other buildings, we're going to have a more detailed discussion of how they'll be opening. But either way, it's great news to start seeing people in the buildings again very soon. We're also setting up some outdoor seating behind Town Hall for people that want to interact with town staff that way. The budget process is continuing. The select board voted earlier this week to approve the budget and transmit it to the finance committee. So that discussion will continue leading up to our annual town meeting, which, as you all know, is June 21st this year, which is a Monday night. And I hope to see you all there. We will be having inside and outside seating. I want to go right to Heather York now. As you know, this pandemic, we had a little bit of a spike recently, and I'm hoping that Heather's going to tell us that it's subsided.
Good morning, John. Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see you. So today in Acton, we have 927 overall cases since the beginning of the start of the pandemic last March. Currently, there's 39 folks in isolation in town, with a number of other direct contacts based on those isolation cases. We're still seeing our biggest spread within households. So folks who either their children or the parents are positive to begin with, and then it does quickly go through the household, which is a lot faster than it was in the spring and through the summer months. So we are still waiting to see if we have been approved for a regional vaccination site from the Mass Department of Public Health. We're waiting to have some more information and a meeting with them to help hopefully get some more vaccine into the community, which would be very helpful. We did start to do some additional homebound clinics that we had to stop as of Tuesday this week, when the CDC and Mass Department of Public Health announced that there was a suspension in the Johnson & Johnson COVID-19 vaccine because of some related issues. There is a clotting issue that's called cerebral venous sinus thrombosis. The recommendation is, if you were scheduled to receive the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, that you should reach out to your healthcare provider or the vaccine location to see if there's an additional vaccine that's available for you. If you have received the Johnson & Johnson vaccine, most especially in the last 3 weeks, symptoms you should be watching for and reporting to your healthcare provider are a severe headache, abdominal pain, leg pain, or shortness of breath. And they've been seeing this typically in the 3 weeks after the vaccine has been given. So definitely make sure that you're reporting that to your healthcare provider. Some of the other symptoms, or the way that you can report this, is through the CDC V-Safe vaccination health checker. It's an application that when you received your vaccine, you were asked to sign up for this, and it checks in with you on a daily basis for a few days after vaccination to see if you're having side effects. And then after that, it goes down to a bi-weekly and then a weekly basis. So that's a good way to also report if you're having any side effects, whether it's from this Johnson & Johnson vaccine or with any of the vaccines that are out there. So just a reminder, we still have a mask mandate in the state. Social distancing should still be happening. So keep an eye on what's going on if anything changes. But as of now, we are sort of status quo that we've been in for quite a while. And that's all that I have today, John. Thank you.
Thank you, Heather, and thank you for that important information. Again, on the J&J vaccine, that's important. If you were scheduled to take that, please reach out to your healthcare provider. Very important information. So why don't we transition next to Sharon and see what's happening with the Senior Center this week?
Hi, John. Thank you. Well, as you know, all the staff are back in the building, so it's nice to be stepping forward through this. On Monday, we're going to be closed due to the Patriots Day holiday. On Tuesday at 1 o'clock, we're having a program, the House of Hanover, and it's about the British monarch. Wednesday at 1, we're having a program, Poets of the Tin Pan Alley Music Program. And then on Thursday, it's Earth Day. So we're having a nice drive-through event for our seniors. We've been working with Cheryl Ball. We received a grant through Chenal 15. So we're going to be giving out plants to our folks. And then I've had a group of boys from the community that reached out, and they were looking to do something for the seniors in town. So Brexton Bartlett, Ashton Price, David Wright, and Noah Healy are going to be putting together little goodie bags. So if you haven't signed up for the Earth Day event, please do so. You'll get a plant and a goodie bag from the boys. That'll be Thursday at 1 o'clock. And then Friday, we've started a second group. We started our walking group last week. Went really well, very successful. We needed to add a second one. So we'll be walking with Terry through the neighborhood on next Friday. So, and that's it for me. Thank you.
Thank you, Sharon. And thank you for mentioning Earth Day. There's another event happening that day too. I don't think it conflicts with yours, but we're actually holding a tree planting event to celebrate Acton's Arbor Day on April 22nd, which is going to be at Jones Field. That will be at 9:30, and there's actually going to be a story time for children or anyone that likes stories, I guess. At 9:45, it's recommended for ages 0 to 4. Bring a picnic blanket and listen to the books about trees, and it'll be social distance. Please wear a mask, and then there'll be a tree planting led by our tree warden at 10 a.m. So, more information about that, you can contact the DPW or my office if you're curious. So, speaking of Earth Day and natural resources, we have our next guests are going to talk about some of our conservation lands and all the various amenities that they offer. And it's interesting because I'm on Twitter for work, and we try to do what we can to promote things and put out information. But over the last few weeks, we kept getting pings for a local resident who's out there walking trails and giving us rankings and gradings of the trails. And I thought, geez, that's really interesting. And so I wanted to actually invite the resident. Her name's Ann Hand. She's here with us today, but also bring in Bettina Abe, who is part of the Natural Resources team, and then Bruce Rachman, who helps oversee the trails, and particularly the Camp Acton trails, and just talk to some of the seniors and other folks out there about all the trails that we have out there, and maybe we can learn a little bit from things that Ann observed, and talk about any ideas that people have out there, ways to enjoy our trails. So Bettina, why don't you get us started? give us a little overview of all these great trails and everything else going on in natural resources.
Thanks, John. Yes, Acton is really lucky. We have over 30 miles of trails. We probably have about 36 if you include the 2 new rail trails that were added in the last couple of years. And we have about 21 parcels with marked trail systems. They're on a website, trails.actonma.gov. The website is managed by volunteers. It's sort of independent from the town and has lots of great information on it and resources. You can go to that website and you can click on any of the conservation lands and get a map. When it'll also give you sort of a rundown on each conservation land and where to park. And each conservation land has its own land steward who is a sworn in committee member and trained. Several of them are chainsaw safety trained. And these people go out on the trails every day, every week, and they work really hard. They oversee Eagle Scouts who build boardwalks, repair kiosks, and at least one of our land stewards in particular is pretty much a hero, and his name is Bruce Rachman. He built our gorgeous red Chinese style bridge that's at the Acton Arboretum and received an award from the select board thanking him for that service. And he has built probably 4 other bridges in Acton and just received the Carol Hawley Acton Conservation Trust award for recognition of his work out on the trails. And we have volunteer programs at the Acton Arboretum and just a lot of different work days with volunteers. So it's pretty active stuff.
So Bruce, how long did it take you to build that bridge that Bettina just talked about? I remember seeing, that's a beautiful bridge. You built it in your garage, is that right?
Yeah, I did build it in my garage. It took quite a while, probably about 8 months to get everything done because I had to laminate and bend boards so it's curved. It was a little more complicated than just a simple straight bridge, but it was fun. I learned a lot too.
Good. Well, thank you for doing that and for all the other projects that Bettina mentioned that you've helped to oversee. One particular property that I know that you take special care of is Camp Acton.
Yeah.
Why don't you give us the official rundown of Camp Acton, and then I'm going to go to our resident caller to give the resident version. So what's Camp Acton?
Well, Camp Acton, it's a unique parcel in that it's actually an active campsite as well as a trail system. And it allows residents and anyone to camp overnight in what would be, a more or less natural setting, but very close to home. That's a mile trail loop, which connects into other parcels. Spring Hill, Robbins Mill, and Neshoba Brook are part of the North Acton circuit. And it's about a little more than 5 miles of trails connecting into there. So it's a little bit of a gem in the woods for us. We care for it. We try to make sure it's clean, that it's vandal free and open and accessible to everyone. So it's really nice. It's a little gem. So
anyone that wants to camp there could just grab a tent and go out there, or how does it work?
That's sort of like that. You contact Acton Rec and make a reservation. So, someone else doesn't have that spot for the night. There are, 7 campsites that are available to camp in. And it's great. It's just a nice little, you can hike in 1/2 mile to a campsite, or you can do a handicapped accessible right from the parking lot. There's a bridge there, and it's, a lot of, great natural resources right there.
Great. Well, thank you. Thanks for helping to maintain and oversee that. So Ann Hand is a resident who I introduced earlier, but she believes that Camp Acton is an 11 out of 10. Ann, can you explain to us what that means and how you come up with that ranking?
Yeah, so I guess just for background on the whole Twitter project thing, I had been aware of some of the trails just because of where I live. And as the weather started to get better in the spring and, there was just all this uncertainty around, COVID cases and, all the travel restrictions that are still in effect in different ways. I was just looking for something a little closer to home, to have, you know, nice walks and be able to see some different things and kind of not be on the computer all the time. And when I went to the town website that Bettina mentioned, I saw just how extensive the network is. And I also saw that there is a program where there's a form you can download, you keep track of all the walks, and then when you finish them, you can submit that to town hall, and you get a patch and or a sticker. So I said, oh, that's nice. I'll do that. That'll be something entertaining. And when I looked up the trails, you know, beyond the town website, I just didn't really see a lot. There are some reviews on Google, but it didn't really, you know, give me a sense of what things would be like. So I just thought it would be fun to take pictures as I went out, and post them, so other people who are looking, you know, could get a sense of what it feels like and what it looks like. And so when I started, you know, I started out at the path that's closest to where I live, which is the Wills Hole Town Forest, or sorry, Wills Hole Town Forest trail. And as I was walking it, you know, I thought, oh, you know, this is nice. And, you know, I've done this one so many times, you know, I'll just give it a 10 out of 10 and, you know, see how all the other ones compare. Except then there were other ones that I thought were a lot nicer and a lot more unique in different ways. So that was where the 11 came from. Camp Acton, I thought, was really spectacular. There are a few other ones that I really enjoyed. For example, there's Nagog Hill and Grassy Pond that sort of make a figure 8 if you do both of them. And there's a lot of different, you know, fauna and flora as you're walking around. And particularly at Grassy Pond, there's this really lovely, you know, place where you can sit and look out over the pond. There are a couple of benches there. It's just really, really beautiful and picturesque. And another one that I really liked, that I thought was spectacular, that I wasn't expecting at all, was the boardwalk over Heath Hen Meadow, where you really have this beautiful panorama of wetlands that still exists in town, that are, you know, preserved really well. And all the trails that I've walked have been pretty quiet, you know, except for, you know, some of the main ones like the Arboretum, and the rail trails have had more foot traffic. But a lot of them, particularly the ones in the woods, are just very quiet, very peaceful. You know, all the conservation officers and volunteers do an amazing job of keeping things clean and beautiful. There's no trash in most places. And it's just a really, you know, it's been a really nice experience to have been able to, you know, go through this process over the last few weeks and really get a different appreciation for something that was closer to home that I didn't even realize existed.
Yeah, well, I can tell you, I've enjoyed looking at your reviews. You counted how many wildlife you saw. You counted how many dogs you saw on each walk, and I think, you know, Bettina and Bruce and the other volunteers, I think, do amazing work in maintaining these trails. But it's really nice to see someone from the community like yourself take the time to help document the trails and highlight some of the things that make them special. And, you know, there's some honesty in here. There's some of the things you said I'm not going to repeat, but some things that you saw that you mentioned. I think it's good, you know, and I really appreciate you doing that. And it was really nice to meet you. And, you know, I hope to see you out on the trails again soon.
Thank you. Same.
So our next guest, Bill Klauer, is going to talk to us about Patriots Day, which is Monday. Bill, how you doing? What's going on
Good.
Monday?
Well, something that's been going on for a long time, for many, 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 many years. And as everybody knows, Patriots Day is, well, I call it, the way I was instructed as a kid, the day that the British came to Lexington and then went to Concord and were defeated by the Acton Minutemen, or the shot-heard world around the world. Anyway, Concord has for many, many years celebrated Patriots Day, and Acton not so. They did it April 19th, 1775, 1875, 1925, and then since 1957, we've done it annually. And it started out as a scout camporee and a walk to Concord. So it's got grown over the years to the point of where we had back, I think in the 1970s, some 4,000 people coming to Acton to camp up in North Acton, and they would meet at the Davis House, walk to Concord, and then on the way back they would get a patch. This is for the Boy Scouts. In 1974, the National Scout Organization awarded us I think the first in New England's historic trail. And so you can qualify for the Historic Trails Award, another scout thing. Now, of course, I grew up here and have sort of fostered this thing all the way along. But what happens is that the people get together and walk the trail. It's sort of a leisurely thing, even though the Minutemen took it at a much faster pace. But it's been going on, like I said, now since 1957, and it continues to this day.
So there is no walk or event scheduled on Monday, but people can remember and recognize the occasion by looking at stuff on the Historical Society website. I know ActonTV is going to run some things potentially, or has things in their fall. Any other ideas for people who can celebrate Patriots Day?
Yeah, just take a look at what we have to offer around town, I guess, starting with the Robbins Mill site where the message was first delivered about the invasion of the British and the Faulkner House, the Jones's Tavern. We have an Hosmer House, any number of places. As I think most people realize, Davis was born over in West Acton, and he spent his entire life here. Outside of going down to Concord to get killed, he was born here, lived here, and as a farmer and gunsmith, he helped to work with the Minutemen to train them to be marksmen, which was what the intent of the Minutemen were. They were supposed to be the best marksmen out of the group, and the two militia groups, East and West Militia, were regular townspeople that volunteered. So it's like so many things in Acton. It's a volunteer activity.
Great. Well, I appreciate you sharing some of this history with us, and we know that we can find more about this on the Historical Society's website, and people can always reach out to Bill Klauer themselves, and he can give you a more in-depth history, right, Bill?
That's correct.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us, and thank you to all of our guests this morning, and hope everyone has a relaxing weekend, and we'll pick it up again in 2 weeks, and we'll see you then.
Make ready. Present. Fire. Present. Fire.